You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. Good to be here with you this afternoon. It is always good to be here with you on Friday, but today is really special. It's my birthday. I was born May 6, 1951. I'm not embarrassed to tell you all I'm 71 years old, born 4:45 a.m. on a Sunday morning in North Carolina. So I just want to say happy birthday to me, and I want to also ask you all to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We record our show every week, and it's building up on YouTube. But if you subscribe, it'll show up in your YouTube listening playbacks. Even if you don't tune in, the show will automatically show up. So thank you for tuning in to Spirit 1340, the oldest gospel station in America, WYCB, right here on Radio 1. My special guest today for the second half of our show is the one and only Rocky Twyman. Rocky Twyman, I love Rocky Twyman. He's a dynamic musician, but he's also a community activist, and he is a conductor, music conductor. And so I'm going to tell you more about Rocky, but I want to say hi to him first. How are you today, Rocky? Julianne, Dr. Julianne Malvo, you there?
I'm here.
All right. I want to say hi to you, too. How are you?
I'm great, and happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I loaded Facebook up this morning, didn't I? I never got so many birthday tributes in my life. I will. I'm going to say hi to Rocky now. Rocky, how are you?
Just fine, and happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you. If I had been thinking, I'm going to tell you right now, I probably would have took the day off. But when I looked and saw it was Rocky Twyman and Dr. Julianne had been off a couple of weeks, I said, well, you know what? I'm going to have to go ahead. Because I could have rescheduled you, Mr. Twyman, but we are here, live and in living color. So I want to go on now, and we're going to talk to Dr. Julianne, because I know she's anxious to talk to us about politics. And for anyone who may not know, she is an economist. Her PhD is in economy, and people seek after her. I get people contacting me to say, we want to talk to Dr. Julianne about the economy. And she is the one of two president emeritus of Bennett College in North Carolina. Currently, she is the dean at Cal State Los Angeles. So welcome to the show again today, Dr. Julianne. Talk to us about politics.
Absolutely. Well, there's so much to talk about. There really is. Let's start with abortion. We'll start with abortion only because it has created such a firestorm. An opinion, a draft opinion that was written by Justice Alito says that there is no constitutional right to abortion, and basically attempting to overturn would, if this opinion is adopted, overturn Roe versus Wade. We knew that when the conservatives got 6 justices that they would attempt to overturn Roe, even though they lied. I mean, Chief Justice Roberts cracks me up. He says that whoever leaked this had no integrity. Well, you know who had no integrity? The liars who said that they would not overturn Roe. Remember Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett all answered saying they would not overturn. They were under oath.
They did.
They keep talking about the leak. I don't care who leaked it. What we know is that these people have no integrity, and we know not only do they have no integrity and less sense, but they basically, it's not just about abortion. I know, Lyndia, you're on a gospel station. Many people who believe in the Lord do not believe in abortion, and that's okay. If you don't like abortion, don't have one. But the issue is not so much abortion as it is the ability to overturn a Supreme Court decision and the issue of privacy. Because no, the Constitution does not grant you a right to an abortion, but does grant you the right to privacy, to do what you will with your body, with your spirit. And so when you look at it, what's next? Is it going to be same-sex marriage? Could it be interracial marriage? Now, that will be interesting with both Justice Thomas being married to the football player and our incoming Justice Ketanji Brown being married to a white physician. So I don't know that they would tackle Loving, but basically Loving was overturned. The law in Virginia was overturned on the basis of privacy. You can marry who you want. So what other rights will they try to overturn once they get away with this one? They've already overturned our voting rights when they repealed Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. So we just have to be clear that whether you like abortion or not, this is not just about abortion. It's about a Supreme Court that's grabbing power. And then grabbing that power, it's disempowering us. So that's the first thing that I wanted to tie. And you see the states being emboldened. Louisiana has now a state legislator there proposed a law that said life begins at conception. So you would not even be able to get one within 6 weeks. This all started with a Mississippi case. Before you could get an abortion into the second trimester, they're saying only 15 weeks. So this is something that we need to keep looking at. Now, the economic news is fascinating this week as well. The unemployment rate stayed the same this month. We got the numbers this morning at 8:30. Stayed the same, 3.6%. White unemployment, 3.2%. Black, 5.9%. 6% for black men and 5% for black women. 428,000 new jobs. That's pretty good news, except for inflation. What we also have seen is that wages have gone up. Wages went up by 5.5%. Sounds good, right? Except for the fact that inflation went up by 8.5%. So there's like a 3% deficit. In other words, your wages did not go up as quickly as prices did. So that's why people are scrambling. People are worried. People are not buying cars. They're having problems if they want to buy a house in terms of what interest rates will be. But it's not even the big ticket items like a car or a house. You have people saying they're eating less meat. Vegetables, fruits and vegetables are more expensive. Their utility bills are going up. So all of these things are crunching people. And so while people say, oh, the unemployment situation looks pretty good, not if the job doesn't pay enough. And that's where we are with that. And then speaking of economic uncertainty, you know, the economic reporters get obsessed with the stock market. And now we're in 5 weeks of a stock market slide. It's not a huge slide, but stock prices are down. The Dow is down. S&P 500 is down. All of our indicators are down. They weren't as bad. This week has been a rocky road, but if we look at it over the past month, we've seen this go down. Now, the reason why half of all Americans don't have stock. So when you use the stock market as an indicator, you're basically talking to people who have stock, which not everybody. Black people less likely than others to have stock. I'm not mad at folks. I have stock, and you probably have some too. And that's not the point. The point is that economic reporters tend to look at the wealthy and not at the working class and poor. So all the stock fluctuation doesn't mean anything to the clerical worker who doesn't have a portfolio. So we just have to be mindful of that, but also mindful that the way the stock market is going, it speaks to economic instability, and that's what everybody is concerned about. The interest rate was raised by 0.5 percentage point this week, and Jerome Powell, head of the Fed, says that they may do that 2 or 3 more times before the year is out. You know, we're in May, so 2 or 3 more times in the next 7 months, that's a little scary. And what that means is that they're trying to manage inflation, but they don't want to push us into a recession. But the 0.5 point increase is one of the largest one we've seen in the past 5 years. And so this becomes, you know, again, a major problem and a concern. Let's see. I have all these little notes. I know I don't get to everything, but the last thing I'll get to, because I want to make sure that the brother, Mr. Twyman, has time to talk. He sounds like a very interesting individual. J.D. Vance won the Ohio Senate contest. He won it. He was trailing in the polls, but he won it. Why? He won it because he had the endorsement of the orange orangutan, also known as the former president of the United States, the 45th president. I don't curse on your program, so I won't mention his name. J.D. Vance is the author of Hillbilly Elegy, a book that came out about 10 years ago, which he really talked about poor white people and how they were feeling about America. And that whole feeling is what Trump cashed in on when he ran. I cuss, I'm sorry. But when he ran for president, that's what he cashed in on, the disaffectation of poor whites. Mr. Vance spent $66 million on this race, Lyndia. $66 million.
That's a lot of money.
It's more money than anyone has ever spent on any statewide race in Ohio. People were seeing this as a test of whether or not Mr. Trump I cussed twice. Oh, my gosh. But whether that man had any power in the Republican Party. But I would suggest that a test is, can you buy votes? Because with $66 million, you can buy a heck of a lot of votes. So it's been a very fascinating week. We've all been I've been sitting here with the economic news with bated breath saying what. But here's what we know, people. I'm going to just say this and close out. The economic news is the economic news. You take care of yourself, your pennies, and your spending. This is a time. This is not a time to be spending a bunch of money. This is a time to watch your money. Thank you, Lyndia.
And thank you, Dr. Julian. It was all very good. We appreciate you so much, and we hope to talk to you next week. All right. Well, thank you. All right. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant. Bye. Listening to the Lyndia Grant Show here on Spirit 1340 WYCB. We're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we will be talking to Rocky Twyman about Mother's Day and what has happened to the Black mothers in Ukraine. Back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
Washington Informer religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery bus. In lectures on brotherhood, Miss Parks often said, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired. But that wasn't true. I was not tired physically. I was not old. I was 42. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in." Driven out of Montgomery by harassment and death threats, Detroit, Michigan became her new home. Rosa Parks will always be remembered as the mother of the civil rights movement. Raised in the AME church, she once said, "I remember finding such comfort and peace while reading the Bible."
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
We are back. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. We're going to talk to Rocky Twyman in about 10 minutes here now. Rocky, how are you?
Just fine, and happy birthday again, Lyndia.
Thank you so much, Rocky. I'm going to just give him your short introduction. Rocky Twyman is an accomplished musician and conductor. His Capitol Hill chorale was dedicated to preserving the a cappella, black spiritual, and he was a finalist in the Quaker Oats Choir competition. He was a participant in the civil rights movement of the 60s, where he became friends with Congressman John Lewis and his wife Lillian. They arranged for him to perform at VIP events in Atlanta and Washington, D.C. He was the founder of the Oprah Winfrey and John Lewis for Nobel Peace Prize movement. He's the founder of Pray at the Pump movement, which was they used prayer and activism to bring down high gas prices in 2008. Rocky was named Washingtonian of the Year by prestigious Washingtonian magazine for recruiting hundreds of minorities for the National Bone Marrow Registry. His work helped to find life-saving matches for minorities suffering with leukemia, sickle cell anemia, and lupus. He was also recipient of the 2017 Martin Luther King Jr. Humanitarian Award for Montgomery County. Welcome to the show today, Rocky. I told him already that our topic today is to talk about what's going on in Ukraine with the black mothers, and we want to wish all the mothers out there happy Mother's Day, including me, because I have 3 children, and they always look out for their mom on Mother's Day. But we want to talk about the Ukrainian mothers. So tell us why you got involved in this issue.
Well, I got involved because of I was involved in the civil rights movement of the 60s with John Lewis. And this just really hit home to me, the way these black mothers are being treated over in Ukraine right now. There have been several reports, CBS, the Brookings Institution, and everything about blacks there being pushed off evacuation trains and being beaten and being left out in the cold and everything. They're not being allowed to cross the border. And it's just terrible. It just shows you the racism is just everywhere. So I had to get involved in this. And then especially due to the fact that First Lady Jill Biden is over there this weekend for Mother's Day. And we're hoping that somehow that she will bring to light the seriousness of the situation over there for these black mothers and just black people in general over there who are really suffering. And
well, Rocky, we don't see that many blacks on TV when we talk about it on the evening news. Do you have any idea about what kind of numbers we're talking about?
Oh, I think we're talking about thousands, because there are many, African people over there in school. I understand they pay to go to school there, and in essence, they're helping the Ukrainian economy by going to school there. I don't have an exact figure, but I do know that several UN organizations, the UN Refugee Organization, is getting involved because the NAACP and the National Council of Negro Women and also the Urban League have been protesting to the European Commission about the situation. So I believe it's probably a very substantial number for them to be getting involved in this situation.
Oh, yeah, because those are the largest black organizations in the country. Well, tell us about the Mother's Day Project in Las Vegas. Is that associated with that, or is that something different?
Well, that is really something that our group, the Pandemic Comforters up here, has put together. They're having at the Abundant Life Seventh-day Adventist Church in Las Vegas tomorrow. Pastor Madden is the pastor of that church. They're having a prayer vigil and fundraiser for the black mothers of Ukraine. And it's going to be a very, very good event, a very wholesome event. And the proceeds from the event are going to go to the NAACP, the National NAACP. And we're asking people to, when they make their contribution, to earmark it for black suffering in Ukraine. And what we're hoping that this idea will spread, and that other black churches and fraternities and sororities will get involved in this serious situation. that's really not getting enough press, we don't feel. And hopefully on Tuesday of this week, we're going to have a protest in front of the White House and encourage Jill Biden to do more to raise awareness about this issue. We had put out something on Instagram asking her to really bring up the issue while she's over there. So we hope that she will bring it up, and we hope that other news media like CNN and NBC will pick up the story and dramatize it before the world, because it really is awful that all you're seeing on the news are white people suffering when there are many, many blacks that are suffering even more, because we understand that the police are beating the black people, to keep them off the trains, the evacuation trains, and it's just really frightening. And there's several news accounts. If you just put in Google in discrimination against blacks during the war, the Ukraine war, all kind of stories will come up from reputable news organizations.
Well, Rocky, that is some kind of good. We didn't realize this news, and we appreciate you so much for bringing this to our attention. Now, my last question is, since First Lady Jill Biden is going to be in Ukraine this weekend, I believe,
yes.
When will you be having your protest? Because you want to influence her while she's there, unless you have an idea about her itinerary, how long she'll be there.
Well, we had intended to do it tomorrow on Saturday, but the weather is just going to be so bad, we're not going to be able to do it. So, it's going to be like after the fact. And,
okay.
We have put out tweets and also Instagram messages, prior to her going there. And we hope that somehow they trickled down to her and that she saw what was happening. And, of course, we've sent our concerns to all the major news organizations, Reuters and Associated Press, CNN, and everybody. And so we're hoping that somebody will do a story this weekend about that situation. But if not, we're going to just continue to fight on for justice for these black moms and black people over there. It's just a tragedy that, they will not be able to really enjoy a good Mother's Day like other people are going to be able to enjoy.
Well, we got to close, Rocky. Give us a happy Mother's Day to the mothers that are listening today, right here in the D.C. area.
Well, we're just so proud of all the mothers, just for everything they've done for the children here and to encourage them. And I just remember my mother. I was born in Atlanta during the Civil Rights Movement, and she just told me that I could be anything I wanted to be. And I think that we should honor our mothers even when they get sick. And just right now, we just really need to just hold on to God's unchanging hand, because we're in such serious times. And just love your mother every day, because you never know when she's going to be taken away from you.
All right. Well, thank you, Rocky Twyman, for being my guest today for Mother's Day weekend. We're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Thank you, Rocky Twyman. We hope to talk to you again.
Thank you.
All right. We ask that you will tune in again next week, but be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page and like us. And also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Pick up the Washington Informer newspaper. My column is There's Been There in the Religion Corner for 17 years, and it is syndicated and read around the country, so we're so pleased about that. Next week, we'll have another special show for you, I want to just close by saying that I want you to come out to the All Nations Baptist Church to join us for our worship service. We are having in-person service and the COVID-safe environment. And this Sunday, May 8th, is our Mother's Day worship. And our guest preacher is Reverend Nikita Wilson. Our church is the All Nations Baptist Church, located at 2001 North Capitol Street Northeast, or you can find it at number 2 Rhode Island Avenue Northeast, Washington, D.C. Our pastor is the Reverend Dr. James Coleman. We're celebrating our 31st pastor's anniversary and the church's 62nd anniversary coming up later this month, and we'll talk about that. All right, let me close by telling you, words, thoughts, and deeds have a boomerang effect, so be careful what you send out. Scripture says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. So think on these things. Happy Mother's Day weekend to all the mothers out there in Radio Land. From the Lyndia Grant Show, I'm your host, Lyndia Grant. Until next week, good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.